There is only one God in the Elder Scrolls, one true God. How's that for a twist? All those Aedra, all those Daedra, all these gods, spirits, they aren't the real deal. There is only one God, one above them all, the Godhead. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to FudgeMuppet. My name is Scott, and today we are diving into some of the deeper, crazier, and profound lore that exists within the Elder Scrolls universe. We are talking about concepts like CHIM, the Godhead, Amaranth, zero-summing, and a whole host of weird stuff. As a disclaimer, some of this lore is drawing upon Michael Kirkbride's expanded works, but interestingly, there is much in-game canon information that supports what is said in these works. However, not everything I talk about today is strictly canon. Bear that in mind. So without further ado, let's talk about this one true God. If you have been watching our videos for a while, you may have seen a neat little video about the Elysian Order, and we also had another one about Dragon Breaks, which had some interesting overlaps. They are in the description below, and you can check those out because you may have no idea about the Elysian Order or their time-breaking, god-splitting shenanigans. But you may have heard about the slave queen Elysia and how she rose up and kicked the Aelids to the curb, winning Cyrodiil and the emancipation of her people. This all went down way back in the First Era, thousands of years before the events of any of the Elder Scrolls games. The reason she is important, despite the obvious, is how she relates to this idea of a one true God, through an order that was created in her namesake, the Elysian Order. This is an organized monotheistic religion, meaning that they only believe in one all-powerful God, one all-encompassing power, and various Aedra and Daedra are regarded as spirits or saints, all derivative of this one ultimate being. When I first learnt about the Elysian Order, I thought it was unfounded and stupid. Of course, the Aedra and Daedra are their own beings and gods in their own right. Where is this one true God? Well, this all gets pretty meta, and it transcends Nirn, Mundus, Oblivion, and even Aetherius. This concept, this one true God, transcends the endless void that is Sithis, the Godhead, the supreme being, the God that is responsible for all of the Elder Scrolls. The Elder Scrolls universe is a dream. You may have heard this before. There are various videos discussing it on YouTube. It is the dream of a being, only known as the Godhead. It is the unaware dreamer. He, she, it has no autonomy in the matter. The Godhead is in an unconscious state. Imagine you were to fall asleep and your brain takes you to amazing places and you honestly believe it is reality until you wake up and know it to be a dream. It would be a similar feeling for the Godhead. It is asleep, dreaming, and within it, it is unaware of this fact. But even as unaware as the Godhead is that it is dreaming, it is still responsible for all of creation. It is the truest and most powerful being. Within its mind was the origin of Anu and Padme, who then created the souls, Auriel and Sithis, which then did a whole bunch of metaphysical mingling, resulting in Aetherius and Oblivion and Aedra and Daedra, who then went on to make Mundus, and then you've got Elnathe and Mortals, and more divisions of a larger piece. So all the characters, gods and mortals are within the dream with various levels of awareness that they are in fact not real or just part of a dream, a fantasy, like the Elder Scrolls franchise is. But what happens when certain parts of the dream, certain individuals within the dream, realize that they are part of the dream? CHIM and zero sum. We have talked more about this previously on the channel, and it's likely if you've done some research into the Dwemer and the nature of their disappearance, then you have surely come across the idea of CHIM and zero summing. I'll give you the brief rundown. So as you can imagine, it would be pretty insanely crazy to realize that you aren't real and that you are in fact part of a dream. So imagine right now you are sitting down watching this FudgeMuppet Elder Scrolls lore video, and you come to the conclusion that you are actually within someone else's dream, that you aren't real. You're simulated by some being's intelligence. The absolute mind-boggling, confronting realization that your whole life, every moment, everything that felt so real to you is a lie, and you are just part of some guy's dream. How do you react? Well, I imagine most people, when confronted with the reality of it all, go into full panic mode and do something we call zero-sum. This is one of the most convincing Dwemer disappearance theories. When they activated the Numidium and tried to become a god, they understood that life was all a dream, that the universe was all a dream. They were part of the Godhead, and they could not logically justify their existence being the scientific race that they were, and they zero-summed, erased from existence. However, there is another alternative, one that requires a certain kind of person, a certain kind of ego to achieve. And I am of course talking about CHIM, the ability to look facts in the face, every bit of evidence that tells you that you are not real, and say with conviction that you simply am. You are real. This simultaneous and contradictory understanding that you are both within a dream and a part of a dream, but also a separate individual, is called CHIM. It is akin to becoming a lucid dreamer. With the metaphysical understanding of the nature of the universe, the dream, the individual who insists that they are an individual in the face of evidence stating the otherwise can manipulate the world. Examples include both the tribunal god Vivek and Tiber Septim becoming Talos. This is, for example, how Talos retroactively in the timeline changed the lands of Cyrodiil from dense jungle to verdant grasslands. CHIM is an unimaginable power, the ability to shape the dream. But this kind of power would be lonely and strange. Everything becomes arbitrary to them. They would become more and more disconnected over time from the people. Imagine you achieved CHIM in the real world and you could do whatever you wanted, give yourself unlimited money, superpowers, all kinds of unimaginable things. But eventually it would be likely that you would become so far removed from reality that you no longer care about it. You may think, for example, that if Talos is such a powerful being who has achieved CHIM, why does he not help the races of man defeat the Thalmor? The question is, why does it matter to him? To Talos, it is all a dream. Initially, he may have helped by doing things like turning Cyrodiil into fertile grasslands, but as the realization sets in, why would he bother? Why does he care for any man, any mortal for that matter? It's all a dream to him. It's all fake, all smaller parts of a larger god, the Godhead, its dream. I believe that after a while, after having achieved CHIM, that you would realize the triviality of it all, and instead search for something higher and try to uncover the grander mysteries of the Godhead, rather than playing with matters of mortals and having your way with the dream. I think this is the reason why individuals like Tiber Septim and Vivek have slowly removed themselves from the realms of Mundus, Oblivion and the like, because they simply no longer care. The Epiphany has eroded their sense of care for the world and its inhabitants. It's not relevant. It is a dream after all. They don't believe in its realness. You don't really care if people die in the dreams that you have because it's not reality. So you should have a firm grasp of CHIM now. Quick summary, you come to the metaphysical epiphany that your entire reality is a dream, you included. You have two choices: come to the conclusion that you're part of the dream and in fact not real, therefore you zero-sum, accepting that fact, or you stand in the face of this realization and state that you are in fact real, an individual achieving CHIM. But what happens after CHIM? What is the end goal? How do they uncover the mysteries of the Godhead or transcend this larger God, the one and only God that encompasses the dream? That would be through the next big step, Amaranth. This stuff gets crazy, like I said, and all of this has many interpretations and people agree and disagree about all this kind of stuff and the little details, but essentially, what I think most people would agree on, Amaranth is the way out, the only way to escape the Godhead, to remove oneself from the dream. Of course, before Amaranth, one must achieve CHIM, and when one achieves CHIM, they usually have a whole lot of ego and a lot of fun doing as they will, but eventually, they likely become disconnected from the affairs of the universe and instead seek mysteries higher. Well, this is where Amaranth comes in. As I understand it, Amaranth is where an individual who has achieved CHIM somehow sacrifices itself, as I've heard it described, to become a new dreamer, a new Godhead, if you will. So they have their own dream, a new universe is created within their head. They become a separate entity, removed from the Godhead's dream, but they become the unconscious dreamer. Precise methods and ideas about Amaranth are very hard, and there is no strict how-to-wiki guide for Amaranth. These are very complex and strange topics, but I will help to re-clarify all the terms and summarize so that hopefully this video will help you a lot when dealing with some of the crazier elements of the Elder Scrolls universe. So, the Orbrus, the Elder Scrolls universe in its entirety, is all part of a dream of an unconscious, unknowable being called the Godhead. Everything is just a division of this Godhead, Anu and Padme being the first, then Aedra and Daedra, so on, all the way down to mortals, all divisions of a dream. When a certain division, a god or a mortal or any conscious element of the dream theoretically, comes to realize that it is not in fact real, but part of a dream, it either zero-sums, rationalizing its non-existence, or it manages to marry the contradictory ideas that they are both real and within a dream, resulting in CHIM. And finally, Amaranth is one who has achieved CHIM, but then becomes the dreamer, the Amaranth of a new dream, outside the dream of the Godhead. There is just some light ideas for your brain to mill over while you eat your breakfast. So if we actually step back to the Elysian Order with the prophet Maruk and his teachings, while understanding the concepts of the Godhead and CHIM, you actually come to the realization that in fact, the Elysian Order is the religion that got closest to the truth of the true nature of the universe. They believed in the one all-encompassing God, and that spirits, Aedra and Daedra, were all just aspects of this one greater being. So in actuality, the Elysian Order with this belief is technically the most enlightened group to have ever set foot on Tamriel. However, the Elysian Order has been long gone for a millennia, and they were quite the brutal regime, causing much suffering for Tamriel. But perhaps ignorance is bliss. Perhaps it's better that the Elysian Order and its teachings have been buried in the past. Perhaps it's better that the people of Tamriel remain unaware of the dream, remain unenlightened, because otherwise everything may zero-sum, or perhaps they could achieve CHIM and utter madness breaks loose. Perhaps the Godhead wakes up from the dream and the Elder Scrolls universe ceases to exist. The realm of possibilities would be endless, but nonetheless, it does not matter in the grand scheme of things. Most of the inhabitants in the Elder Scrolls universe will never know of anything more than Aedra, Daedra, man, or elf. Their lives lived completely unaware of this ultimate truth. What did you guys think of all this? The revelation of the one true God, the Godhead. Perhaps this is the truth of your own reality. Perhaps it is all a dream, and maybe one day you will achieve CHIM, become lucid, and realize that you are just within someone else's dream, a kind of simulation. It's the craziest stuff. Let's see this all unfold in the comments. Like the video if you enjoy crazy concepts like these. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Subscribe for more of this Elder Scrolls lore, along with content for upcoming RPGs like The Outer Worlds and Cyberpunk 2077. You can reach us on social media, linked in the description if you so desire. My name is Scott from FudgeMuppet, and I'll be back to nerd out with you again in the next one.